Imagine stepping out your front door one morning only to be met by a blinding sea of camera flashes, each click chronicling your every move and whispering your name to millions. In 1998, that was the surreal reality for Monica Lewinsky, the bright-eyed White House intern whose private liaison with President Bill Clinton transformed her overnight from relative obscurity into the most talked-about woman in America. Offers of seven-figure book deals and blockbuster interviews poured in, yet despite those heady windfalls, her bank account today tells a very different story, one that might just shock you. Monica's journey began in an affluent San Francisco household. Born in July 1973 to Dr. Bernard Lewinsky, a prominent oncologist, and Marcia Lewis, an aspiring author, she grew up amid luxury. The family's sprawling Spanish-style home in Beverly Hills set the stage for a gilded childhood filled with Cadillacs in the driveway, front-row seats at the symphony, and elite private schools that charged tuition rates most could only dream of. Yet behind the manicured facade lurked emotional turbulence. When Monica was 14, her parents' marriage erupted in a bitter divorce. Accusations of infidelity, Tiffany and Louis Vuitton gifts for mistresses, and dinner-table tirades left the future in turn navigating a world of legal fees and therapy sessions that would plant seeds of insecurity she'd carry into adulthood. High school offered a temporary escape. Monica threw herself into drama and choir, eventually earning valedictorian honors at a tiny prep school for troubled wealthy teens. But her first taste of forbidden power came at 19, in the form of a 5-year affair with her 40-year-old drama teacher. She followed him to Portland when she left for college, babysitting his children while sustaining a twisted double life and reporting every intimate detail back to him. That pattern, seeking validation from older taken men, became her unseen script long before the world knew her name. Upon graduating from Lewis and Clark College in 1995 with a psychology degree, Monica landed an unpaid White House internship thanks to her mother's political connections. Then came the federal government shutdown in November, which sent most staff home but kept unpaid interns on duty. Suddenly, she was one of only a handful of people in the West Wing. It wasn't long before President Clinton, all of 49 years her senior, began noticing the young intern whose underwear straps occasionally peeked above her jeans, a detail she later admitted she left unadjusted, acutely aware of his attention. One evening in mid-November, they finally crossed the line, a rendezvous in a West Wing office that would ignite an 18-month series of 9 documented trysts. By February 1997, their encounters had yielded the now infamous blue dress, stained with biological proof of the president's involvement. Monica tucked it away at the urging of confidant Linda Tripp, who called it an insurance policy. When Linda later handed that dress over to independent counsel Kenneth Starr's team in July 1998, the FBI's DNA match rendered further denials impossible. Meanwhile, Monica had been transferred to the Pentagon, officially for performance issues, but unofficially to keep her away from the president. Yet she and Clinton kept up late-night phone calls, verbal liaisons that prolonged her emotional entanglement even after physical encounters ceased. As the scandal swelled, Linda Tripp's secret recordings of over 20 hours of Monica's candid conversations became Starr's golden ticket. Desperate to protect the president, Monica signed a sworn affidavit in January 1998 denying any sexual relationship, a willful falsehood that opened her to perjury charges. 9 days after the Drudge Report's explosive leak, Clinton stood under the White House spotlight on January 26 and intoned the phrase that would echo for decades, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." By defining sexual relations so narrowly as to exclude oral sex, he technically skirted the letter of perjury laws even as he broke the spirit of public trust. The nation watched as Monica was reduced to the punchline of every late-night joke, her name emblazoned across tabloid covers and web forums in some of the earliest instances of global internet shaming. The personal fallout was devastating. Monica endured months of supervised walks, sleep-deprived nights, and suicidal despair as the media circus raged on. Yet the legal drama unfolded toward an unexpected resolution. Granted transactional immunity in July 1998, she testified fully before a grand jury, clearing the path for the House to impeach President Clinton on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice in December. The Senate trial in early 1999 fell short of the 2/3 threshold needed to remove him from office, and while Clinton remained in the Oval Office, Monica emerged from the legal morass uncharged but forever scarred. Almost immediately, the world's appetite for her story translated into big checks. In March 1999, she sat down with Barbara Walters for a televised interview watched by some 70 million viewers, netting her a cool $1 million paycheck. That same month saw her memoir, Monica's Story, co-written with Andrew Morton, rocket to the top of the bestseller list and earn her roughly $500,000. Yet just weeks later, A planned $1 million Jenny Craig weight loss partnership imploded amid public outrage, leaving her with only $300,000 of the promised sum and reaffirming the harsh reality that her fame was a double-edged sword. Undeterred, Monica ventured into entrepreneurship, launching The Real Monica Incorporated, a handbag line featuring reversible boho totes she designed and produced in Louisiana. Despite initial buzz and placements in top boutiques from New York to London, the business struggled under the long shadow of scandal. In 2003, she tried her hand at television again, hosting Fox's Mr. Personality, a dating show with masked suitors designed to emphasize compatibility over looks. The quirky format briefly scored high ratings but collapsed after 5 episodes under the weight of audience backlash. For years, Monica's cameos on talk shows around the world, The View, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Graham Norton, felt like efforts to tilt her identity away from scandal, but the narrative still clung. It wasn't until June 2014 that she reclaimed her own voice in a landmark Vanity Fair essay titled, Shame and Survival. In 16 raw reflective pages, she revealed turning down more than $10 million in offers she found exploitative, and drew a direct line between her experience of public shaming and the tragic suicide of Tyler Clementi, a Rutgers student driven to death by online harassment. The following year, her TED Talk The Price of Shame reverberated across the globe, amassing over 20 million views and cementing her role as a pioneering anti-bullying and mental health advocate. She branded herself Patient Zero of public shaming, and audiences finally began to listen not to gossip, but to insight. In Hollywood, she took on a new mantle as producer, founding Alt Ending and helping to shepherd Impeachment, American Crime Story on FX, an opportunity to transform her most painful chapter into a measured, authentic depiction. She also co-produced HBO Max's documentary 15 Minutes of Shame, translating her journey into a cautionary lens on the digital age. By early 2025, Monica launched Reclaiming, a podcast devoted to conversations on surviving public humiliation. With guests like Olivia Munn and others who've weathered their own media storms, the show serves as both catharsis and roadmap for listeners whose lives have been hijacked by scandal. Her speaking engagements at universities, tech conferences, and corporate retreats command fees in the $20,000 to $50,000 range, and her production deals bring in 6-figure payouts. Still, when you tally up all the millions she's earned, and turned down, her true liquid net worth settles surprisingly modestly, in the neighborhood of $1 to $1.5 million. That figure stands in stark contrast to the half-dozen headlines predicting fortunes 50 times greater. But it also underscores a deeper truth. The real value of Monica Lewinsky's story is not measured in bank balances or book advances. It lives in the power of her resilience, the authenticity of her voice, and the countless lives she's touched by exposing the brutal underbelly of online shaming. At 51, her greatest wealth lies in her hard-won credibility and her ability to reclaim a narrative once weaponized against her. In rewriting her story on her own terms,